What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Markets. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing well. On Fridays, I'd like to go through just some of the headlines, some of the news items out there, and talk about them, finish up the week on kind of a fun note. This week had lots of content. So, of course, the fundamentals report went out on Monday. That's my free weekly newsletter. You guys can sign up to on bitcoinandmarkets.com. Let me just share that screen. Bitcoinandmarkets.com. So the fundamentals report went out on Monday. Then I had a podcast go out. Let's see. The price competition went out. Price competition is if you're a paid member at the website, you can enter into just a simple price forecast competition for the end of the month. And the winner, they get $20 in sats over Lightning Network at the end of the month. So if you want to enter, today is the last day for this month. So go sign up. If you are signed up already, put your entry in. If you want to sign up and join us over there, get the little bit of perks that we have on the website for $5 a month. You can support the show, you can enter the competition, and you can have some fun. Also, we have FedWatch was yesterday. It was CK and Nolan joined. So it was three hosts, and it was a really fun time. Nolan he and I actually, like, if you would pin us down and tell us to describe what we think is going to happen in the future, whatever, we have very similar views. However, we get there through roundabout ways. And so I love to hear how Nolan gets to the places he gets to. And of course, then I'm kind of the backbone of that show, and we cover all the stuff that I put together for us. But anyway, it was a good episode. Check that out. In that post, you can find the links to the video versions. However, the podcast version, I don't think is going to come out at least for a couple days because producer Chris, who now does the podcast uploading and stuff for Bitcoin Magazine, he's on vacation for a week. So that it probably will take a while to get those uploaded to the podcast stream or feed, but that's okay. We'll do that. And then this morning, since this morning, I've been writing the Market Pro, and I went through a bunch of commodities. Of course, I hit on Bitcoin, but I went through oil, I went through copper, I went through agricultural commodities, lithium, nickel, aluminum, and looked at these things and said, hey, we're told that CPI or inflation is going to turn back around and go back up. We're going to be higher for longer. The inflationistas were right all along, and we're going back to very high inflation for the foreseeable future. Well, I look at commodities, I'm like, well, if they're a leading indicator, what are they telling us? So go in depth in this issue about commodities. So check that out. That is for the professional tier over on the website. But okay, this is Freeform Friday, and I'm just going to double check all of my streaming, where I'm going out. Today I'm wearing my American flag with the thin orange line. You know, Bitcoin and the US are going to be allies in the future. And so I got this hat made up with the orange line instead of a red or a blue line. And I think it's a great way to show patriotism, but also to show Bitcoin, being a Bitcoiner. So, okay, let's get on with the show. This was breaking news at Whale Chart on Twitter, and I saw this all over the place, but I just happened to pick this tweet, and it says, breaking SEC Chair Gary Gensler stated that he intends to prioritize regulation regarding artificial intelligence over those for cryptocurrencies. And my first initial reaction to this was, yeah, because has it kind of wrapped up, okay? Plus, there is some overlap here. The AI tokens are going to be coming out, ways to use tokens with AI. A lot of the crypto bros are now pivoting to AI. And so there is some overlap here between crypto and artificial intelligence, not Bitcoin. I mean, there is actually overlap with Bitcoin too, because people are giving AIs the ability to use the Lightning Network and to actually use Bitcoin to pay for chat time, which I think is extremely interesting and promising as a way to use Bitcoin. I've always said that AI won't be able to understand the world fully unless they understand money, because you have to understand trade-offs and you have to understand economics and scarcity and things like that. And you can't do that if you don't understand money. So AI is, even if we want to use AI for planning or for, um, you know, help with engineering and stuff like that, it's going to need to have an understanding of economics so that they know that it can't build a beam out of steel that is, uh, 50 meters thick, because there's just not enough steel. It'd be way too expensive. It doesn't, even though it'd be strong and it would fit, like certain things need to have an economic understanding. We just can't build something a certain way because it's just too uneconomic. And AIs will need to understand that. And it's not as easy as programming in, because, that's the socialist calculation problem. You can't just take about like 100 data points and program those in, and then now they understand money, or 1,000 data points, or 1,000,000 data points. You can't do it. You have to have an understanding of complex systems and complex uh, money in general. And so I think AI is going to need money. And also, we're going to be able to use Bitcoin with AI. But anyway, let's get back to the Gary Gensler stuff. So, SEC, Gary Gensler stating he's going to prioritize AI because he thinks that he already has crypto kind of wrapped up in a nutshell. It has come out with Coinbase saying, look, Gary Gensler, or the SEC, told us we could come into compliance by um, by delisting everything other than Bitcoin. That's exactly what I said most likely occurred too. I said, right away when this news came out, I said, hey, they probably said come into compliance by delisting everything, and that's exactly what they said. But so everything other than Bitcoin is a security, and of course, the SEC came out after that, after Coinbase said that, and they were like, well, that's not our official policy. Maybe somebody at the agency got overzealous, and that's what they said to Coinbase. But who knows? Who knows exactly what was said? But I'm pretty sure that is what their position is going to be. So that is wrapped up. There's a nice little bow on that. They're going to be suing people left and right. They're going to try to get this enforcement through arbitration, setting an example. I mean, that's what the Howey test is. It was set through a court filing, or through a court finding, through a court case. So this is exactly how they want to do everything. And then in turn, on the back end, the way that they regulate is not through enforcement. Really, what they do is they regulate through licensing and through the professional class, lawyers, accountants, all those people saying, hey, you don't want to do this. This is illegal. Don't do this, blah, 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 blah. And the professional class is what keeps people from going down this road probably 99% of the time. And then the 1%, then that's the people that they have to sue. But that is their plan going forward. Gary Gensler probably thinks he has this crypto thing all kind of wrapped up, and now he's going to start looking at AI and looking at what they have to do over in that direction. Now, don't take this as apologetics for SEC. I mean, it is, but it's not anti-free market to get rid of fraud, in my opinion. The libertarians or the anarchists, they'll say, oh, a free market is a market that's free of force and fraud. It's an unhampered market, not hampered by force or fraud. Okay, the SEC is force, but they're technically getting rid of fraud, right? So, yeah, we don't want the SEC to do it, and maybe they can't. Like CK says, maybe eventually they can't really do it, but they're fighting fraud, and this is 100% fraud. Okay, all coins are fraud, and we'll get into that here with the Tour de Meester thing in a second. But Yeah, so this was breaking news, and I do have a video of him. Let's see where we go here. 1 second. Is this one it? Or this? Yeah, here it is. I actually am going to stop sharing to make sure I'm sharing audio. What's up? And I believe it was this one. Share audio. All right. Now, every time I've done this in the past, my browser doesn't like me streaming on Restream and playing these videos, but we're going to try it. We're going to try it once again. Keep this tab open for a little bit, see if it loads up better or buffers better. And let's go.
Top on the beat.
Something related to cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin ETF. What more do you need?
Oh my God. Why does it do this, people?
To be confident that a spot Bitcoin ETF is
Hold on, let me try to
ready for
refresh this.
And is the potential for market manipulation still the largest hold?
Let me try to refresh that tab. Sorry, guys. I mean, my computer that I have is a POS, and it's an old school desktop here, and it doesn't like streaming and watching videos, which kind of sucks because I would like to do things in the future, like maybe watching movies or watching documentaries with the people here on a live stream, something like that. It might be kind of fun. So I just, man, I really want this to work out. So let me try. I refresh that tab. Let me share the screen one more time. And it instantly started buffering. Hold on a second.
Top on the beat.
Something related to cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin ETF. What more do you need to see to be confident that a spot Bitcoin ETF is actually ready for prime time? And is the potential for market manipulation still the largest holdup to spot ETF approval?
Well, Mark, I recognize the question. It's a good question, but understanding that as chair of a regulatory agency and having various applications in front of us and not prejudging them, and also recognizing that there is ongoing litigation about these very matters, I think I'm going to have to defer on that one.
Okay, not too exciting here from Gary Gensler. He just deferred about a question about the Bitcoin ETF. I did see some news as well that people are thinking a Ethereum futures ETF is about to get approved. That would blow my mind. Maybe they want to allow people to short when they sue the Ethereum Foundation. I don't know. But that one is that. What should we go to next? Let's go to Tour de Meester. I'm going to refresh this tab as well before we dive in. So I was saying before we started there on Telegram, I have like a little pre-show, like a couple minutes talking to those guys. And I was saying how Tour de Meester is kind of back on the scene. I hope he feels better. I hope he's 100% better. I know he's had some health issues recently, but his Bitcoin content did decrease over the last few years. And if he's back, if he's raring to go and he's healthy and he's getting back into it, wow, what a great time to do it, because Bitcoin is about to take off in the next bull market. Tour de Meester is just, he's going to be fire. All of his stuff is fire. One of his most famous tweet threads though was about Ethereum and just bashing on Ethereum. So he comes at it from that angle, but also the Austrian libertarian angle as well. And so he has really hot takes on a lot of stuff, and I enjoy it. But let's take a look at this. Let me pop up the sound and let's go.
Like stepping away from Bitcoin and looking at the crypto cycles, like, do you think they're as pronounced moving forward as they have been in the past? Are they losing narrative steam?
I think, yeah, I mean, I guess I can't hide. I'll have a little bit of glee thinking about this theory that, because I'm going to reveal my theory, but so the mantra has been alts are back. Like that is they're gonna come back at some point. It's just a matter of when, alts are back. And so they're trying to revive the scam coin cycle over and over. And so far, in a way, they've been right. But one of these cycles, they're going to be very, very wrong, I think. And I'm kind of speculating that this coming cycle, people may be wrong that alts are back because we have so much regulatory scrutiny. Like, so basically the on-ramps are getting, more and more shut down, and these scam coins are not decentralized, right? And so that means if you're going after the fraudsters, like, they actually can't keep running the coin oftentimes, or not keep it functional at least. So that's one headwind for the altcoins. Then there is the fact that Bitcoin actually is scaling. So all the narratives are the narratives that we're justifying these coins are being incorporated in the Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin is scaling, Bitcoin is having smart contracts. You'll be able to do asset issuance on top of Bitcoin. There's just so much stuff is clearly happening on top of Bitcoin. And then I think also just the world is becoming a little more wary that, how many scam coins can you live through and then still be gullible for the next one? Like, at some point, people just get tired of it, and they're like, you know what? No, I'm not going to buy your new coin. So yeah, maybe it really won't happen the next time around.
Yeah, I think.
All right. So he touched on a lot of things there. Alts are back. Yeah, they continue to change their narrative. They continue to update their marketing. Of course, at the very beginning, it was silver to Bitcoin's gold, right, with Litecoin. Then it became smart contracts was the big thing. Then it was everything on a blockchain under the sun, decentralize all the things. And ICO madness, code is law, DAOs. We had the decentralized, what was it? Was it decentralized autonomous organization? And then that, of course, failed because code isn't law, and code actually does have bugs, and a DAO can't fix itself. It needs to have a central party to go and fix it. All of these things. Then DeFi came out, so they continue to update their marketing, update the thing that they are building. Of course, and we saw NFTs, we saw Web3 over and over. It's just the next marketing scheme on top of something that failed the last time. So yeah, altcoins are back because they're back in a new form. They will come back in a new form. I think Web3, they're trying to do that as a new form. Maybe it will be AI now, that they will do AI altcoins or something like that. But yeah, alts are not completely back, or alts aren't completely dead, but I really do think that they won't have a cycle like they had in the past. Now, he also touched on the gullibility. How gullible do you have to be to get scammed over and over again? And I did talk about this. Let me bring up the website on where is it? Where is it? Affinity Fraud. And down here, I have 3 ways that naturally combat this fraud. Okay, overcoming affinity fraud. So you have just having enough time. Every cycle you live through, you're going to lean more and more Bitcoin only because you see other things fail. and Bitcoin is still there. Bitcoin's still 75, 90% of the space, like the mind share of the space, if not market cap. And obviously, I don't think dominance makes any sense. Bitcoin is 100% dominant, but as a mind share of what we're supposed to compare to Bitcoin, or supposed to be a substitute to Bitcoin, that Bitcoin is still there. It's always getting more and more dominant. And so people living through different cycles, they will just experience that. Also, if they get wrecked, I say that they will have the free market has a way of just taking influence away from those people. So these are scammers. They're selling their altcoins and they get wrecked and they just don't have any influence anymore. So the free market takes it away in that respect. What else did I say here? So another great natural defense is the natural shrinking of the pool of the most vulnerable and gullible targets of this fraud. And this is exactly what Tour de Meester was talking about. Similar to diminishing marginal returns. Each cycle, there will be fewer in the target audience that have not gone bankrupt in a prior cycle. Eventually, the whole affinity fraud category error itself will run out of people in the target demographic that have not been scammed. Okay, and then I say a third natural defense is that we get an evangelist zeal to tell about this fraud, just like I'm doing right now. We tell people about the fraud. And that's kind of like, when you first learn about Bitcoin, you want to tell everybody about Bitcoin. Well, when you get scammed, you want to tell everybody about the scam. So not only do people learn, but people lose influence and they lose the ability to reinvest because they were wrecked. And lastly, they're incentivized to speak out. So there's three natural things that go on that limit the affinity fraud that goes on in crypto. So each cycle might be getting bigger, but we might have seen the last cycle. We will see. There is a natural evolution to this whole thing. And I don't think alts will ever go away, just like I don't think that Nigerian print scams will ever go away. I don't think that other types of simple hustling scams will never go away. Penny stocks aren't going away. Phishing emails aren't going away. Altcoins aren't going away, but they won't be seen. They will be another name for fraud. Altcoins will just be known as another name for fraud. And that's why we need to break the Bitcoin crypto connection. All right, what's the next thing I have here? Which one do I want to go to? Let's go to this one. I'm going to refresh this tab. For guys on Telegram that can't hear these videos, I'm going to Al Sharpton next, so you can follow along. I did post them earlier into Telegram. So let's see what he has to say here.
One day, our children's children will read American history. And can you imagine our reading that James Madison or Thomas Jefferson tried to overthrow the government so they could stay in power? That's what we're looking at. We're looking at American history. One day, our...
Okay. I know I have a lot of European folks that watch my show and watch my content. You guys might even know American history better than a lot of Americans, or most Americans. But okay, James Madison and Thomas Jefferson overthrew a government. That's exactly what they did. They were the revolutionaries, the forefathers in the Revolutionary War. They overthrew the control of the British monarch, the UK control over the United States. So that's exactly what they did. But he's so brain dead. He's just a race hustler. I can't stand him, but I thought that was amazing. That shows how one side is just completely idiotic and brain dead and a bunch of liars. I was talking to my wife the other day. I was like, it's pretty easy to spot the it's pretty easy to trust your gut of what certain people are telling you because you've caught them lying to you in the past, right? So they lie to you openly and brazenly. every single time. And so if they're telling you that, oh, climate is a big problem, that we need to worry about the climate, that this is the biggest problem to face humanity and stuff, it's the exact opposite of what they're telling you. That it's a great heuristic to use. It's not foolproof, but it's a great heuristic to use. Don't trust the government. Don't trust mainstream media. Don't trust the government's experts or the mainstream media's experts. Just believe the opposite of what they tell you, and you will be right 90% of the time. So, okay, what is next here? Let's do this one. This one is Natalie Brunell. She's a contributor to Bitcoin Magazine. I don't know if she's actually part of the official team, but she's a contributor. She has great content, very well spoken, and she was on Fox. This is Fox Business, and they ask her some decent questions. And man, she is just sharp. She's on top of everything. So let's watch this.
Take a look at Bitcoin prices hitting a 6-week low after crypto trading platform Curve Finance said it was hacked. Crypto stocks following Bitcoin lower on the news. And then, of course, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong claimed that the SEC asked the company to halt trading in all assets except Bitcoin. Armstrong saying that the demand would have, quote, essentially meant the end of the crypto industry in the U.S. That is a claim that Coinbase is now walking back. Joining us now,
Okay, the end of the crypto industry in the U.S. That's just so silly. And I know I've talked about this before, but that's like saying the end of snake oil salesmen in the U.S. Does that strike you as bad? The end of MLM schemes, the end of Nigerian prince scams, the end of phishing emails. That doesn't sound like a bad thing. So the end of crypto is not the end of Bitcoin, people. It's crypto, not Bitcoin.
Stories podcast host and Bitcoin educator Natalie Brunell. Natalie, what do you make of this Bitcoin versus all other assets? What is the security? What is the commodity? And why are we not clumping them together?
Hi, thanks so much for having me back. Well, I think this all highlights the confusion and chaos that the crypto industry is really struggling with. And what you can take away from this past week and the statements from Coinbase and the SEC and all the developments is that clearly there is a lot of uncertainty with regard to the future of these crypto exchanges and non-Bitcoin crypto tokens. There are disagreements between various attorneys and various judges that will stretch out into legal battles for years. But the one thing that is certain, the one thing everybody agrees on, is that Bitcoin is a well-engineered, valuable, global digital asset that has a long future ahead of it. And whether you're an institutional investor or a retail investor, if you want clarity, if you want the safe haven digital asset, then the least uncertain thing in the space is Bitcoin.
Natalie.
Boom. Amazing soundbite there. She says there is uncertainty around non-Bitcoin crypto tokens. And I like how she said that, other than I would try to split it up even more because Bitcoin is not a crypto token. I mean, I guess you could say it is, but so is a password that you use to log into any website. So crypto token is not like descriptive of what Bitcoin is. So anyway, but that's a good way to put it. Non-Bitcoin crypto. And then she said that if you want clarity, Bitcoin is your only option. Bitcoin is the least uncertain thing out there. Bitcoin is not only the least uncertain thing in, versus the fake substitutes that are out there, but also it is the least uncertain for all these different inflation hedges like gold or silver, U.S. treasuries. Bitcoin is actually less uncertain than that because we don't know if 5 years down the road what's going to happen with treasuries. I mean, they could continue falling. I don't think they will, but let's say they do. So Bitcoin is going to go up forever. That is how it is programmed. Of course, it won't be nearly as fast. 1 to 2% a year would be fine, but it is going to go up forever, and that's the way it's built. So there is very little uncertainty. There's zero uncertainty around the 21 million. And so, yeah, Bitcoin versus everything else is the most certain thing out there. And Pierre Rochard made that same argument going back to, what's his name? Is it Richard Weiner? Am I getting the name wrong? He's a gold bug type, deflationary side, and he's debated Pierre Rochard, and I actually did a reaction to one of those debates, and Pierre made the same thing, that Bitcoin is the most certain asset. So Natalie Brunell here, knocking it out of the park so far.
Isn't that partly predicated on folks at the SEC, Gary Gensler, actually creating a little certainty around how we legally deal with Bitcoin and other crypto assets? I feel like the confusion stems in large part from regulatory bodies like the SEC. And in fact, it seems to me like they kind of like it, because at the end of the day, the best way to get a central bank digital currency is to make sure nobody has faith in anything else. Am I overthinking this, or do you see the SEC as a bad actor right now in this space?
Look, the real question about whether something is a security is whether there's another party that can defraud you, that can print $20 billion worth of a token, borrow against it, or give it to their cronies and run away with your money. So anything that has counterparty risk is a security, and it merits disclosure. And the public has a right to know who controls these digital networks, because the public can lose all of their money. Now, the crypto industry is essentially saying, look, thanks to the internet, we created assets that can be traded 24/7, that can be self-custodied. It's more efficient. It's a global system. That's the big breakthrough, but it's too expensive to register them and to be compliant in the 20th century way. Now, the regulators are saying, well, the way you become cheaper is by cutting corners. You're not hiring the attorneys and the auditors to make the disclosures and to prevent defrauding. So that's really the impasse here. I think that impasse will drag on for years. And if you're investing in just Bitcoin, you don't have to worry which direction this legal and political battle will go forward.
Okay, I like her answer. She didn't get drugged down into the CBDC question, but I will. I will. So, yeah, she made some good points there about, hey, what is a security? Okay, this is security is something with counterparty risk. I mean, great way to describe it. And that all of these things are securities other than Bitcoin. So once again, she hammered home that this is the path of least uncertainty for investing in Bitcoin versus investing in anything else. I mean, it would be absolutely stupid for somebody to invest in anything other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Ethereum, to me, obviously is stupid to invest in, but anything other than that, down the scale there, down the ladder from Ethereum, I don't know how you could come to the conclusion that you need to take on some exposure to those things and not Bitcoin, So these were great points by Natalie, but I will also add the CBDC question and the SEC. So SEC is not like playing some sort of 4D chess trying to break the system so that we can get a CBDC. The Fed, for people new to my content, the Fed has said repeatedly that they are not going to do a CBDC, that they do not even have the legal authority to do a CBDC. They would need an act of Congress. And how hard would that be if they can't even pass something to say that a shitcoin is not a security? They're trying to pass these bills right now to give some clarity on stablecoins, which is a much easier question, backed by dollars or dollar equivalents and have a full reserve. And that seems very non-controversial between defining these obvious shitcoins as not securities. That is a much bigger lift. Now they can't even do that. An even bigger lift would be to get something through Congress to give the Fed and mandate that the Fed create a CBDC. It's just not going to happen. The US is not going to have a CBDC. Period. It's not going to happen. Now, people are talking about FedWatch or FedWire. Is it? Crap, now what's the term? I think it's FedWire. So the FedWire is a new payment system that is going to make pretty much like wire transfers relatively instant and 24/7, but it's only going to be open to certain institutions that are on, like if you could send a wire from or to that entity, most likely they can also join this FedNow. Is it FedNow? God, FedWire, FedNow. It's FedNow. Yeah, they can join the FedNow and send these transactions, but they're still using dollars. This is not a CBDC in any way, shape, or form. It's just a new payment system. And payment and money, there is a difference. A means of payment or a medium of exchange. So the easiest way I describe this is PayPal. All right. PayPal is a means of payment. And what do you pay? You pay dollars or euros or whatever currency. So you pay the money, the medium of exchange, with a means of payment, which is PayPal. So all the Fed did was create a better PayPal that they can use, a private PayPal for big entities to transact in dollars. Now, a CBDC is not that. A CBDC is a new money. And should I go all into this? So money today is credit. When you print a dollar, the only way to really print a dollar in the system today is to have a loan. A bank making a loan creates a dollar. But a CBDC is a completely different kind of money. It's not based off debt. It's based off direct printing from the government or the central bank. It takes the supply function out of the private market, which is where the banks exist. I mean, it's a regulated market, but it's not completely unhampered, but it is a market, and takes it out of the hands of the market and puts it in the hands of the central bank directly. We don't have that system today. So a CBDC would be a brand new form of money. We're not going to have that in the United States. They might have it in Europe because they are terrified of losing market share for the euro. They're terrified that they'll have a breakup of the European Union or the Eurozone. And so they have to have something that makes the euro attractive. And they think, for some stupid reason, they think that more authoritarian currency will be good. Of course, it won't be. It'll just exacerbate their problems. So we will see if they ever ship in Europe and other places. Of course, Nigeria had it, and it's blown up. Let's see, who else? Bahamas had it. I think that's blown up already. China has had a CBDC, and it's still going, but we don't hear much of anything about it. I think it's very insignificant over there. So these CBDC things everywhere they've been tried, they have failed. Like I said, most recently in Nigeria, it was a embarrassing blow up of a CBDC, and I think that set people back a little bit. But in the U.S., there is almost zero chance of a CBDC at any time in the future, in the foreseeable future. So, all right, that is that. Let's see what else she says.
Can I ask you more about this Coinbase situation? Because the CEO is basically saying that the SEC said you can trade Bitcoin, but you've got to stop trading everything else. So how are they deciding in this ecosystem what would live and die? Is it based on these principles that you just laid out? Is in some way Bitcoin proving itself to be more reliable, more transparent than, say, Ethereum? We were just showing it on the screen a second ago.
Yeah, I think that when a lot of people hear the word crypto, they think of this big ocean of currencies. They're more or less the same, like a big bunch of, fish swimming around. But the reality is Bitcoin is this giant peaceful whale that is making its way across the ocean, that has had a massive amount of sucker fish attached to it that, drag along with it, surf across the ocean riding its coattails. But Bitcoin is the first Bitcoin is the most decentralized. Bitcoin has the majority of the market, and it has a huge chunk of the trading volume of these exchanges. About a third of trading volume on Coinbase is Bitcoin. And I do believe that some actors in the crypto space are well-intentioned, but the truth of the matter is there's no consensus on a compliant way forward. There is chaos and confusion and a lack of clarity. And so the lesson of the last week is nothing's going to be sorted out anytime soon. The legal process is very slow. So if you are looking for clarity and certainty, the path points to Bitcoin.
Natalie Brunell, always great.
Boom. Wow. So sorry for the audio issues there, guys, but she said that people, when they hear crypto, they think of an ocean full of fish. But really, the situation is Bitcoin is this giant, peaceful blue whale with all these sucker fish on it. Man, just such a great visual. And so, yeah, she's really good. I like Natalie and what she is doing over there with her podcast and other things. Again, Bitcoin is the path of least uncertainty. The path of least uncertainty. And we have BlackRock and we have KPMG, one of the top 4 auditing firms, coming out and saying all the benefits of Bitcoin for the environment, all the benefits socially, and stuff like that. So it is amazing that we're getting such good news. The altcoin side of the house is being held down or is facing an existential type of crisis here with the SEC. So the substitutes, Bitcoin is not facing any of this substitute drain that it's had for so long. Man, I get more bullish every day. But let's take a look at the price to wrap it up here today, guys. 29,000 even right now on Bitstamp. Wow, 29,000 even. We'll see how long that holds. But you can see if I zoom out here, we did talk about this yesterday on FedWatch and on Market Pro, my professional newsletter out this morning, that we are pinching into this triangle, this ascending triangle. And I feel like this is going to happen. We could have a wick that fakes out down below before we break out, because we do have to get rid of some of the longs. But overall, I think trading wise, I feel the sentiment is actually kind of bearish right now. A lot of people, I've heard more and more people talk about, we could test 25,000 again. Even on yesterday's FedWatch, we talked about, are we going to see 16,000 again? And CK, who tells everybody that we're not bullish enough, he says he doesn't know. It might. Like I'm saying, I mean, I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at that we're not bullish enough. We got to get bullish here. And everybody is still like, there's still too many bears. And so we don't need to necessarily wreck the bulls one more time, or get really clear out the longs. But I can see that happening just one more time, maybe a wick down to 28, 27 at the lowest, something like that. And then a massive bounce after that. So we'll see. But I'm bullish, guys. And this pattern is looking like it's going to work out. So that is going to be it. Let me share my main website one more time. bitcoinandmarkets.com. My name is Ansel Lindner. You guys can go there to support my work or to get the free weekly newsletter. Join the members only price forecast competition. That's end of the day today is when that is due. But anyway, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Hope I made sense on this live stream. And I'll see you guys on the next one.